So I'm here with, I'm like in the presence of royalty in the HVAC world. This is Sam Myers, and he is not on camera yet, but he's with Retrotec, and Retrotec is a company that makes blower doors, or as I like to call them. What did you call them?
The red door of truth.
The red door of truth. I used to call them the portal to hell, but I think that the
Let's be a little more positive about
red door of truth is a little nicer. So I'm going to put Sam on, and he's going to walk you through what he's doing here. All right. So hi, Sam. How are you?
Hey there. Good. Yeah. Thanks for coming by.
Oh, absolutely. I got to see your presentation yesterday, and you had this dollhouse.
Yeah. We call this, we've named it the Madhouse, affectionately after the Mad Air paper that John Tooley and Neil Moyer wrote back in the 80s.
Yes.
I think it's one of the most underutilized pieces of information in our industry, because it doesn't just talk about the HVAC system and how it delivers comfort and solves problems, but it talks about how it interacts with the entire house. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a missing piece that most contractors are leaving behind.
So it's not just about the box.
Right.
Really.
The bigger box.
The tons, the tonnage.
Right. So the way I look at it is,
Yeah.
we're a blower door manufacturer,
Okay.
so we provide all kinds of education on air tightness testing, how to do it, and why it's important.
Well, what's a blower door?
So a blower door, here we can see this fan spinning around here.
Oh, yeah.
So we install this fan in an exterior doorway. The other component is here. It's a frame and a cloth that gets installed into an exterior doorway. And what we're doing with it is we are measuring how airtight or how leaky, however you want to look at it, a house is. Because that infiltration is an important factor in how a house performs overall, whether if we're talking about energy consumption or comfort or indoor air quality or moisture management. That infiltration value is really important when we're thinking about those kinds of things.
Okay. So explain this device here.
Yeah, so we'll kind of funnel it down a
Okay.
little bit. So with a blower door, we're seeing how leaky a house is. Mm-hmm. And we can also take that with some other tools like a handheld smoke machine or a thermal imaging camera, and we can identify where those leaks are. Now the other side to this too is seeing how the HVAC system and other mechanical items in a house are interacting with the building enclosure. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're demonstrating with this. And so what we have here, we have a 3D printed duct system on this. This is just a single story, single family residential home here. And you can see we've got some plugs pulled out of the supply side. And now this duct system is outside of the building envelope, like most houses are in the southeast.
So this is the air handler.
This is the air handler, so there's a miniature squirrel cage fan in here.
Okay, and this is the return.
That's the return.
And then this is the supply.
That's the supply
These
trunk.
are takeoffs.
Yep, we have branches going to each bedroom, bathroom, laundry room, the main body. And so we have some leakage here.
I see that. It looks like a duct cleaner came in.
Yeah. So when we have excess supply leakage, what that does to the house is it brings the entire house under a negative pressure. Mm-hmm. So it's actively leaking anytime the HVAC system is running. And so what that does is it pulls in humidity, moisture, any kind of particulate in the wall cavities faster than it would otherwise. Okay. So it's important that we have all of that balanced out.
So are you saying if you have leaky ducts, then it makes your house dirty?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And both return leakage and supply leakage can do that.
Okay. And so it's pulling in stuff from your attic?
Exactly. Think about what's in your attic. Mm-hmm. Usually it's some kind of blown insulation, whether if it's cellulose or fiberglass. And if you're actively pulling on that, those particles are getting distributed throughout your house.
If it's supplying air, though, wouldn't it be blowing out the holes and not sucking stuff into the holes?
Well, sure, it'll be blowing some air out of the holes, but since that's causing the whole house to go negative, if you have a leaky ceiling plane, then it's going to actively pull on that.
Okay. So leaky ceiling plane, that would be where you have penetrations for lights?
Exactly. Anywhere where you might have an interior wall where the sheetrock meets the top plate. Okay. That's a pretty major crack there. When you add all those up, it turns out to be a pretty large hole.
Yeah, so those should be sealed.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's what we're aiming for.
Okay. And that also includes stuff in your basement, doesn't it?
Yeah, and here in the southeast, we're in the land of crawl spaces. Vented crawl spaces, which I despise. They rarely work.
Yeah.
But we like to put duct systems in there. And so if we have leaky supply ducts in a vented crawl space, now we're cooling that space down faster, causing to get surfaces below dew point, encouraging mold to grow. So if we have return leakage there too, now we're growing mold, pulling mold spores into the house, distributing them throughout the house too.
So it's really important that your ducts are sealed.
Exactly.
And what about storing paints and other chemicals in your basement?
Yeah, I mean, if you have, it's never a really good idea, especially if you have a duct system there, because as those fumes get into the air, if we're pulling those in through leaks or anything like that, now they're in the house. So, the one thing that we always preach, and John Tooley is here this week, and this is something that he came up with, a house is a system.
Yes.
One component can affect all the others. And
Yes.
so it's kind of like the human body.
It is like the human body,
Yeah.
and our industry treats the human body like doctors do, the house like doctors
Exactly.
do.
That's the way we should be looking at it.
But doctors just focus on one little aspect and not the
Yeah.
whole thing sometimes.
So I do a lot of comfort consults too, and I kind of think of myself as like the primary care provider, right? I can do diagnostics, I can do testing, I can go based off your symptoms, we can run labs, I can write prescriptions, but then we have to see what kind of surgeon or what other kind of specialist needs to take it from there.
I see.
So that's a good way we can look at it. People can relate to that.
Where are you based out of?
I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Okay. Whoops. All right, got you back on here. Wilmington, North Carolina. So
Yeah.
you're starting to see some extreme weather.
Yeah, we get a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So all 4 seasons, hurricanes. We got snow this year for the first time in 7 years. We have high humidity, so yeah, all of it.
Yeah, you guys have been getting it all.
Yeah.
So what do you have that's new here?
Yeah, so I guess we'll start here. What you see here hooked up to the Madhouse is our new single channel high resolution manometer. So this
Yeah.
is the tool that you can use even without a blower door. You can use the existing fans in a house, whether if it's kitchen exhaust, bath fans, dryer, whatever you can do to depressurize a house. As you start turning fans on with this reference to the outside, if that number doesn't move, that tells you that house is pretty leaky, and that's time to look at a blower door test to see how leaky it is.
So this would be something that a technician can use without dragging the blower door in, just to got
Exactly.
sort of a bird's eye view.
Just to get an idea of what the problem might be, and we did that we didn't put any kind of wireless connectivity in it, so it's right under $400. So it's kind of a gateway drug into home performance. The way we look at it.
So if a technician wants to up his game or her game, their game, then they could purchase one of these for under $400.
Yeah, they're $395,
Uh-huh.
and then it pairs well with our static pressure probes.
Yeah, these are awesome. They're,
Yeah.
they're very sexy probes.
So if you push this adapter all the way up, you can shut an exterior door over it. And now you're referencing the outside, and so that's how you can get that access. But you can do static pressure tests on an HVAC system too, and a lot of times you can just back out an existing screw, pop this in, not have to drill a new hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really exciting, and I'm looking forward to purchasing one of those
Yeah.
soon. And so what's over here?
Yeah, we'll move over to this table. This is actually a new blower door fan that we just released maybe a week
Really
ago.
nice looking.
Yeah, so it looks similar to the ones that we've carried. The big deal about this one is it's
No rings.
yeah, so everything on this one, there's no rings, there's no moving parts to adjust your size. This is magnetic.
Oh,
So it just clips
no
on.
clips.
And then when you remove these plugs to reduce the hole size smaller, our cloth has pockets on it, so you can just drop them in there, so that way you don't have anything lying on the floor to get stepped on or broken.
Now, so when I'm doing reporting, I need to tell, I work in New York State, so I need to tell the state agency what ring I put on.
Sure.
So how would I communicate that to them?
So we actually have, on our newest manometer that came out last year, there's an app built onto it that'll do automated reporting for you. So it'll automatically record, what ring or range size that you used, and everything about that blower door test, and whether if it passed or failed, whatever credential you're testing for.
Will it also do the math on the air exchanges for me?
Yes, it does all of that for you.
So I don't have to bust out the calculator and figure
Exactly.
that out.
You just have to know the volume. You enter that in. and
The
it does
volume of the house.
The volume of the house. That's one thing you have to have for ACH 50.
Okay. And when you say ACH 50,
Air changes per hour at 50 pascals of pressure.
okay, so air changes per hour, and what does that mean?
So that's how many times the air in the house is going to change out in 1 hour under that given pressure. So for houses, we're always going to test a 50 pascals of pressure. And what that's like, it's like a 20-mile-an-hour wind hitting all 6 sides of the house at once. So it's enough pressure for us to take over the house, overcome wind and stack effect and things like that, but not too much to where it's going to damage anything.
And what's stack effect?
So stack effect is, we see that, a good example is in the winter, where maybe it's warmer on the inside, colder on the outside, and that warmer, more buoyant air is going to move upward and then out. And at the same time, colder air is going to draw in at the bottom. Think about how a charcoal grill works, right? You have the heat moving out of the top and it draws in air from the bottom. Houses work the same way.
So it's sort of like a straw, or the same effect of like water that's moving up through a capillary tube.
Yeah, or smoke up through a chimney. And then in the summer, it's flipped. So that cold, dense air is going to fall out the bottom and then pull in warmer air from the top.
So that's why my living room is always hot. I have a 1963 ranch with a finished basement. And in the winter, my basement is always cold.
Yep.
And in the summer, my living room is always hot. And my basement is also always cold.
Yeah, and that's what we see a lot of the times too. Especially two-story houses that have vented attics on the top. If there's a leaky ceiling plane there, that cold air is falling out of the bottom of the house, and now we're pulling in that 130-degree attic air into the home. So that's why we run into a lot of comfort issues upstairs.
Yeah, so it's really important then that attic is sealed adequately.
Exactly.
And then also we were talking about storing chemicals in your basement. So the stack effect also pulls those chemicals up through your house.
So stack effect is one of 3 things that drive pressure in a house. So there's stack effect, wind, and then the mechanical systems. And a lot of times we have all 3 happening at one time.
Now, my burning question is, why is Retrotec yellow and red?
We weren't always yellow. I think our founder just liked that combination. It made it pop. You know, yellow is a color that we see a lot in construction, so just went with it.
You can't
and it
lose
made it stand out a little bit. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, it's I once saw a blue blower door cover and I was jealous.
Yeah, I think that was Infotech. They were made in Virginia for a while. Yeah.
But this is so cool.
Yeah.
And so this is the device. This is a...
Yeah, so this is the manometer that you would use for a blower door test or a duct leakage test. So it's 2 channels, so it's actually 2 manometers built into one housing.
Okay.
And so one side's going to give you pressure, one side's going to give you flow.
And this also has Bluetooth capabilities?
It does. These are wireless. But we built it out so that any apps that you would use to generate reports are just built into the device itself. So that way you can use your phone for something else.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And how much is this manometer?
The manometer alone is around $2,000.
2,000. Don't drop it.
That's
does
right.
it come with a
That's
cover?
That's why we came out with these that are just under $400. So if you need a high resolution manometer, you don't have to pull out the $2,000 gauge every time if you're worried about damaging it in the field. You can just use this instead, still have the same precision, still auto zeros.
But does it come with a cover?
It doesn't. So what we did with this is all the plastics on it are automotive grade. There's an aluminum bezel around, and this is the same Gorilla Glass that's used in the new iPhones. So we did a bunch of military spec drop tests on it. And the way we got this to crack is by throwing it out a 2nd-story window onto the gravel parking lot. So they can take a beating.
Sam, give it to me for a day. I am notorious for dropping my devices.
We have not had a lot of broken screens come back in from this yet. It's held up really well.
How long has it been in the field?
2 years.
2 years.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. This was fun.
Are you going to be at AHR?
Unfortunately not.
Okay.
I was at the ResNet conference last week. I'm here this week and got a little one at home. So,
how old?
He turns 2 next week.
2?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in this industry?
About 12 years. I think I've been with Retrotec for 7. Before this, I was with a research and consulting firm in Raleigh, North Carolina, Advanced Energy, where a lot of this early research was done, back in the 80s and 90s. So it was really cool to get started
there. You don't look that old.
Sorry?
Oh, you didn't work there.
Oh, no, I didn't work there. But, you know, a lot of the people that did that early research were still there, and I got to learn from them as I came up in this
Oh,
field.
that's really
so,
cool.
Yeah, very fortunate to have those people around me to learn from.
And was it analog back then?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, when we were using pressure gauges back then, it was magnehelic gauges. So, yeah, if you look at some of the early Retrotec manometers, they actually came in a hard briefcase. You lift it up, you had these magnehelic gauges molded in. There was a sharp pocket printer that would print out your blower door results like a receipt. And it looked like something from an old James Bond movie or something like that. They were cool.
Yeah, I've seen, actually, speaking of James Bond, the frames for the blower doors come in gun cases.
They used to. Yeah, so we found that they were getting stolen from a lot of customers because whoever was taking them thought they were guns, and I'm sure when they opened them up, they were surprised what they were found.
A little disappointed.
Now they come in a canvas sleeve to keep everything organized. It rolls up. You can throw it over your shoulder.
Oh, that's nice. So it has little wheels on it?
There's no wheels. The frames are aluminum. They're pretty light. And so each one has its individual sleeve. You can roll the cloth up with it and then easily carry it on your back.
So how much does a blower door setup cost?
Yeah, a full kit with the fan, the frame, the cloth, the manometer, some online training. You're looking at about $4,800.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's quite an investment.
It is, and so that's why I always recommend if you're looking at getting into home performance, looking at a lot of these kind of diagnostics we do in building science, start here.
Okay. Start with this little guy.
Start with that, and then you know, work with the fans that are in the house to see if you can get things to depressurize, and that alone can tell you a whole lot.
Yeah. Awesome. So what do you like about is it HVAC or HVAC?
I say HVAC. It's, you know, tomato.
And what do you like about the industry?
This particular community at this conference, you know, Brian Orr's done a fantastic job of just pulling some of the best people together into one place every year. And then there's just so many online communities, Facebook groups and things like that that have kind of spiraled off from there. And it's just, you find all these people that are just eager to share their knowledge and make the industry better, and it's just a great community. So
what group do you hang out in? Fess up.
Oh man.
HVAC for life.
So probably in the online world, there's a buddy of mine, Jenry Garcia, that has a Facebook group. His company's called Comfort Dynamics, and that's the name of his group. And that's probably my favorite one to kind of interact in.
Okay.
But no, we have our own too. We have a lot of customers that dabble in HVAC, but then also do maybe large building testing where you're using multiple blower doors and stuff like that. I also enjoy that. That's always a challenge. So I don't know. I feel like if you ask me next week, it might be a different answer.
Got it.
I'm bouncing around in a lot of different things.
Got it. Well, thank you so much, Sam.
Yeah.
And it was a pleasure meeting you. And
yeah, it was good meeting you too.
Thank you for the tour.
For sure.